very good afternoon to you. It is the third day of January 2016. My name is Najma Ismail. Welcome to the weekend at 1. 2 people were last night killed and 5 others injured in a tragic road accident at Miga area near Salga along Nakuru Eldoret Highway. Now, the accident, which involved a Nairobi-bound passenger bus and a stationary saloon car, comes barely 2 days after 5 teenagers lost their lives along the same stretch. Police have since blamed the accident on overspeeding by the bus driver, who is now on the run.
The accident involved a passenger bus en route to Nairobi from Kisumu and a stationary salon car. According to area police boss Joseph Momburi, who spoke in camera, the bus's brake failed while it was speeding on the highway, leading to the early morning tragedy. The bus driver, who reportedly escaped after the accident, is said to have lost control, hitting the saloon car parked at the bus station from behind, causing the instant death of a man and woman. According to eyewitness accounts, the bus had been experiencing mechanical failure all the way from Kisumu, causing it to make several stopovers before the accident occurred.
Kukuja mpaka hapa ndo tukastuka kwa sababu gari imeanza kubabayuka kwa barabara. Sasa kukuja tumekuja kama gari ni kama ina break kwa sababu bumps inapita bumps, watu wanapiga nduru huko nyuma. Mimi mwenyewe nimeona kama watu 3, watu 2 wametolewa kama wamekufa. Mama na driver pia ni mwanaume. Wengine wametolewa wakaweka kwa gari, wamepelekwa hospitali.
Bodies of the deceased were taken to Nakuru County morgue while the damaged vehicles were towed to Salga police station for inspection.
Gari yetu ilikuwa na speed sana juu kwa bumps ilikuwa inapita bumps na speed kwa sababu ikienda polepole gari inakwama. Wenye tulitoka nayo Kisumu gari ilimshinda kabisa, tukifika wazi gari limshinda, ndio huyu dere mwingine akachukua gari. Sasa udere mwingine alikuwa anajaribu akifika kwa bumps anaenda na speed ndio ipite bumps.
5 passengers injured in the accident are receiving treatment at the Rift Valley General Hospital in Nakuru. This comes barely 2 days after 5 teenagers lost their lives along the same stretch. Trix Ingado, KTN News, Nairobi.
Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto says he will not join Jubilee Party, saying its agenda is not known. Addressing supporters of his Mashinani party, Ruto says he has lost confidence in URP, the party that sponsored him in the last general election. Speaking at the same function, Omurwa Dikir MP Johanna Ngeno said they will lock out Jubilee in Narok County come the general election of 2017.
Wachana wewe huwa tumekubali, wacha URP iende, TNA iende na Jubilee iende. Anatuambia nini? If you have killed all the parties, then that is fine. It's up to you. But we are free also to form other parties. We are free to join other parties. You cannot bamboozle us na kulazimisha sisi kuingia kwa chama ambaye hatujui nani aliunda. Na hii chama ni ya nini? Agenda yake ni kitu gani? Hii agenda hawajatuambia agenda ya hii ni nini. In that case, we are not heading in that direction. Poleni sana. Nendeni kwa heri. Bye bye. Kwendeni mahali mnataka. Tunabaki? Tunabaki wapi? Mashinani. Tunabaki wapi? Mashinani.
I must say I will support any other idea where you bring in even other parties. And I'm very happy. I'm very happy with your governor. Mwenye ameamua kwamba ataleta chama inaitwa Mashinani Development Party. Sisi kama Narok tumesema pia hiyo mambo ya hiyo chama yenye wanasema sijui inaitwa JPP ama JP ama Jubilee. Sisi watu ya Narok tumesema hiyo maneno. Hatutaki hata kusikia huko.
The Kenya Publishers Association clarified their 15% increase in textbook prices today. The publishers announced the increase in textbook prices, attributing it to rising inflation and a weak shilling and increased cost of production.
The marginal increase of only 4 to about 7%, a maximum of 10%, has been made in very, very, rigorous discussions with government. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is on the price. On the depreciation of the Kenya shilling, you will notice that we never even factored, the Kenya shilling last year depreciated 24% against the US dollar. 24%. So again, if you add the depreciation of the shilling and the increase in the factors of production, that comes to about 46%, total increase.
Matatizo sio sisi wasafishaji wa vitabu, ila ni mambo ambayo serikali imetenda hata baada ya sisi kupinga kwa miaka mingi. Kodi kwenye vitabu na kodi kwenye malighafi inayotumiwa kusalisha vitabu. Kama nilivyosema mwenyekiti wa KPA, ni kwamba mambo yote yanayotumika katika vitabu au malighafi inayotumika kwenye vitabu inatoka ng'ambo. Karatasi inatoka ng'ambo, hundi inatoka ng'ambo, pini zile zinatoka ng'ambo, nyuzi ambazo zimo kwenye vitabu zinatoka ng'ambo, na malighafi yote inalipiwa kodi, na kodi kubwa sana. Isitoshe, vitabu vyenyewe hata baada ya kuvisafisha vitabu, kuvileta kwa wasafishaji, na sisi pia inabidi tulipe kodi kwa 16%.
2015 was a year that focused on major scandals in Kenya, and the perceived petty offences got little attention. Kakamega had a record of crimes that have been weighed by the public opinion as non-serious, but court officials say whether it is millions or 14 maize cobs, stealing is stealing, and it's a punishment that determines what is serious, what is petty, and not comparative moral guilty. Now Dorcas Wangira reports.
12 December 2015 at Muliro Gardens, a man identified as Wycliffe Kibaki chased his former wife armed with a panga from Jamia Hotel adjacent to the garden, a matter causing a breach of peace. A repentant Kibaki denied the offense, saying that he had difficulty sustaining the love jealousy aroused whenever he saw his former wife work next to him, yet they are divorced. The court released him on a cash bail of 3,000 shillings. The two were advised to seek an out-of-court settlement. 13th December 2015, a man steals sukuma wiki worth 75 shillings from a school. Stephen Shitambasi admitted to the facts read to him on a police charge sheet that he sneaked into Mukumu Primary School and made away with a kale. Yes, I stole the vegetables because I was hungry, he said, in a mitigation pleading to be pardoned for being a first-time offender. The court warned of dire consequences should he commit a similar offense, advising that he learns to earn his keep as a middle-aged man. According to Benson Sikuku, the deputy registrar for the Kakamega Law Courts, the line between a petty and a serious offense is drawn by punishment. However, leniency is hinged on circumstances for the stealing and the accused admitting to the crime.
When the punishment is softer, makes it to be petty, and like where it's felonious and we have to meet like custodial sentences without an option of a fine. Drunk and disorderly, the standard is it's provided in the law, 500 or default 3 months for a first offender.
A chicken theft suspect Oliver Mangoli will await until the 11th of this month to mark the hearing for his case after he was charged with stealing a hen. Mangoli vehemently denied committing the offense and insisted to parade witnesses to defend him in the matter. Prosecution papers read that on the 28th of December last year in Sianga village of Navaholo, Kakamega, Mangoli together with others not in court stole a hen valued to be worth 500 shillings. He faced yet an alternate count that if he did not steal, he received and kept a hen knowing well that it was stolen.
Offense of stealing, when one steals one chicken, it may be petty to the general public, but to the complainant, it's not petty. He's lost a part of his property. And some of them follow the case to conclusion.
A middle-aged man, Anthony Musumba, is awaiting a probation report which will evaluate his financial situation before the court decides his fate after he pleaded guilty of stealing maize. The police charge sheet read that on the 27th of December last year in Sidiho village of Navaholo, Kakamega, Musumba stole farm produce, 14 cobs of maize worth 210 shillings. A pensive Musumba pleaded guilty to the charge, saying that he had no previous crime record and was beaten up after the incident. "I have 3 children and this was my first time to steal," he said, pleading to be set free. The court ordered a probation report to be tabled on the person of Musumba in January this year before it makes further orders. The exhibit in the case, 14 maize cobs, were returned to the owner. Felonies attract imprisonment of more than 3 years. Petty offences and misdemeanors are crimes that are punishable by at least 6 months. When they are closed in Haega, residents claim the suspects of a robbery at a depot would not be punished if due process was followed.
Sisi watatufanya nini? Hawa watu wamalizwe hawa. Serikali tunaomba watubea hawa watu sisi kufanyia kazi yetu.
When it comes to offences, where do we draw the line between what is petty, what is serious and what is capital? Most of these seemingly petty crimes await final judgment and punishment this year. Some sort of redemption for those offended. Small things here hardly go unpunished. Not so for mega corruption scandals that make stealing chicken extremely petty. Dorcas Wangira, KTN News, Kakamega.
Now, the first cruise ship for the year 2016 docked at the port of Mombasa, carrying over 1,000 people. A total of 10 cruise ships are expected this year. John Juma tells us more from Mombasa.
Having sailed from Zanzibar, carrying over 600 passengers and over 400 crew members, totaling to over 1,000 people, the cruise ship Seven Seas Voyager made her way into Mombasa Port, docking few minutes after 7 a.m. The Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Najib Balala, and Principal Secretary for Tourism, Fatma Hirsi, were among the stakeholders who received the tourists.
The beauty about the cruise ship, the ripple effect, the supplier value chain is major, from water supply to vegetables to food stuff to security to service providers like the port to tourism providers. So it's not about just tourism, it's about an economy running, and this is what is required in Mombasa.
Today being just the second day of the year 2016, the vessel Seven Seas Voyager is the first cruise ship to dock in Mombasa this year. Cruise ship handlers in Kenya say they expect at least 10 ships to call in the port of Mombasa this year, an increase from last year where 6 cruise ships docked in the port city.
We're expecting to have, for the 2016, 9 cruises coming in, and we might be having an extra one to make it 10 over this period next year. So we expect, 2016 to be better than the year before, 2015, on the cruises. And what we are doing now in the marketing is we are trying to increase the calls, in that instead of having the day calls, we'll be having the overnight calls from next year, 2017, 2017 and 18 on the calls. Yeah.
Mombasa has been a popular port of call for cruise ships, and it's very competitive because these cruise ships only visit a few ports. They cannot visit all the ports in the world. So we are competing with many other ports, and they're looking at issues like safety, security, services, efficiency.
With improved security, political stability and hope of total victory in the ongoing war against terrorism and piracy, players in the tourism sector are confident that tourism will create more jobs and will regain its position of being the second largest foreign exchange earner in the country.
It takes a lot of marketing, to bring these cruises down here. It's not that they just make a call like that, because we do a lot of marketing to convince them to come to the Indian Ocean waters. Previously, because of the piracy, most of the cruises were never scheduled to come to on our waters.
We will jointly with Abercrombie and Kent attend the Miami Convention, the cruise ship Miami Convention in March 17th this year, to see how best we can encourage and bring more cruise ships in the region.
This is the first cruise ship docking in the port of Mombasa in the year 2016, an indication that tourism is getting back to its lost glory. John Juma, KTN News, the port of Mombasa.
Well, 7 cancer cases have been reported in Marsabit County during an ongoing cancer screening exercise in Kor and Kargi. Now, the screening exercise being conducted by Marsabit health professionals working outside the county comes barely months after KTN News exclusively carried a story titled Desert of Death, highlighting the despair of cancer patients in the county who have been grappling with a disease they know very little about. Now, during the screening exercise, other diseases as high blood pressure and diabetes were reported. The patients will be transferred to Nairobi for treatment. However, area residents are now asking the county government to provide them with clean drinking water to prevent them from taking water from contaminated sources.
County, and more specifically in Kargi ward and Kor ward, we've had reports about the spread of cancer and the level of awareness of our people. The many cases that have been reported and as has been covered in the media is that many people are dying of medical conditions that are being associated with cancer. And as professionals, we came up together and we decided to find out exactly what is it that we can do. In as much as we know that we cannot cure cancer, we thought that there is something that we can do in terms of prevention, in terms of health awareness.
Hiyo maji ya Gangisa, mali na kunywa mmekufa Gangisa. Sasa siku hiyo ni shida mpaka sisi na wacha. Hakuna mtu anakunywa zaidi. Sababu sina kuona iko shida ndani.
One of the things that is being attributed to this increase in cancer in our area is the oil exploration which was done some years ago. And but I think I cannot pinpoint that as the only cause of cancer. Normally, there are many factors that attribute to cancer formation.
To regional matters now, the United States has hit out at Rwandan President Paul Kagame's decision to run for a third term, saying it was deeply disappointed and concerned by the move. The US says President Kagame had ignored a historic opportunity to strengthen the democratic institutions the Rwandan people have labored so hard to establish. Kagame declared on Friday that he will seek a third term in next year's poll. Trix Ingado has the details.
Kuzakomeza kuyobora igihugu nyuma y'ibihumbi 2017. Nkurikije uburemere bwabyo n'imyumvikanire mwabihaye nta kuntu ntabyemera. Ubwo hasigaye.
It is this declaration on Friday that has upset the US, which had earlier called on Kagame to step down next year when his term expired. Through State Department spokesman John Kirby, the U.S. expressed disappointment, saying in part, and I quote, "To change rules in order to stay in power weakens democratic institutions." Kirby was referring to changes made to Section 101 of the Rwandan Constitution concerning term limits that followed a national referendum that saw Rwandans vote in favor of said changes. 58-year-old Kagame, once a darling of the West, said on Friday he would run again in line with the constitutional amendment which won overwhelming backing in the referendum. Under the amended law, Kagame will be allowed a new 7-year term from 2017 and 2 other 5-year terms. Washington and the European Union have consistently expressed deep concern at any such move. The strongly worded statement also pointed out that the U.S. believes constitutional transitions of power are essential for strong democracies. The U.S. has also called upon the government of Rwanda to ensure and respect the rights of its citizens to exercise their freedom of expression, conscience, and peaceful assembly. Trix Ingado, KTN News.
Well, thank you very much for watching The Weekend at 1. Up next on KTN News is Africa Voices and KTN Home, where we'll be having Germany. My name is Najma Ismail.